Welcome, my friends and enemies. I'm glad you are here. I am alone for the first time. Well, in a long time. Pretty much forever ago, I guess. I don't know. No Pilgrim, no Matt, just myself. So hopefully that doesn't disappoint you too much. But how you guys doing? Glad to be here. Um, Interesting, hopefully short topic today. I know I say that, and it's going to be like 7 hours long. It should hopefully not be. Um, y'all familiar with PlayStation, right? Like, and their wonderful decision making skills. Hopefully, um, they're not doing so hot in the decision department, and because of this, people are questioning like, should I keep investing in PlayStation 5? Should I eventually buy a PlayStation 6, etc.? The basic stuff, right? Like things you might expect. Um, there's kind of an easy solution now. I can already technically do this with my Steam Deck. If you're not familiar with the PS Portal, it's a little handle device thingy that has like a screen on it, the handles of the controller from PlayStation, and you can just connect through your internet to your PlayStation, which has to be on and connect to the internet at all times for this to even operate. And it's just a very terrible variation of this. PS Portal is not a very good thing, especially for like shooters or anything that requires split second uh, identity changes. Like you're like, oh, I'm gonna do third person over the shoulder, or basically for Gears of War, Halo, Call of Duty, any of those types of things, not gonna be so great. Something slow, RPG, like a turn-based RPG or something, it's probably fine. Lots of latency issues, not the greatest. I can use my Steam Deck to do that, and I have done that. I don't really use it like that because it's not really necessary, but people are wondering, can I access my PlayStation stuff without actually going into PlayStation 6? The answer is technically yes. We have a new, I don't know, company or software, whatever you want to call it. Uh, Google likes to pronounce it as if it's the first time ever you could do this, and it's really not. It's actually been there. You can manually set it up yourself. However, this is the first time it's going to be doing it a little bit more, technically speaking. So what we have here is Asobi. So what Asobi is, it lets you play PlayStation on virtually any device. Virtually. You can play remotely your PS4, PS5, or your PS3, PS4, and PS5 games via PlayStation Cloud streaming. Now, slightly different than what I do with my Steam Deck. My Steam Deck, I can just connect to my my PlayStation 5, and I can just access it and play it from my Steam Deck. Now, this does it via the PlayStation Cloud streaming. I'm not sure if you're aware, but cloud streaming's kind of terrible. It's not very good, and especially not good on anything that is fast paced, like I said earlier. But now you can do it to your iPhone, iPad, Mac, Apple TV, Vision Pro, and Android. So, what does this mean? It means you can basically play PlayStation on anything. You don't even really need a system, technically speaking. But basically, they're working on this for a lot of things. You can go to the Steam page, or I guess you can go to Steam, and they have a page for this coming up. Like you can sign up for it, for the Linux variation of it, which is going to basically do what we all want it to do. You can turn your Steam machine basically into a PlayStation, which is kind of funny, actually. So optimized for every device. Each platform gets unique features tailored to its strengths. So like for the Vision Pro, which is just like the glass goggle thingies or whatever, it's curved windowed immersive, 120 hertz frame interpolation, live 3D, real time 2D 3D, HDR wide color gamut. Uh, you can do your iPad anywhere, your iPhone, iPad. Premium picture quality with frame generation, upscaling, and ambient light spill, touch or controller. Tells you all the stuff right here that you can do with it. You got your desktop gaming on Mac, which you should never do, but if that's what you have, that's what you have. Get you full controller support for DualSense, DualShock, Xbox, and more, which is cool. That you can kind of more or less use an Xbox controller to play PlayStation stuff, which is kind of nice. Apple TV, you can do big screen gaming, 4K upscaling, HDR support, full haptics, etc. Android, get your virtual controller, Bluetooth controllers, internet remote play, low latency. Features, 60 FPS native streaming, HDR, 120 frames per second, frame generation, 4K upscaling, bitrate control, low latency, haptics, motion controls, iCloud sync, PS Cloud, internet play, and remote play from anywhere, 3D side by side, and then here's things that are coming soon. Per game controls. This is pretty cool because this allows you to essentially customize your controller, or lack thereof, to whatever this one game you're playing is, and then when you open a different game, you don't have to reconfigure all your stuff all over again. It's pretty nice. It's a feature that's coming soon. Macros. I mean, if you're playing games, macros can help a lot of the not so fun stuff to do. Also, Steam Deck, native Steam Deck client, which means in Linux. And then MetaQuest as well, for those who utilize that. And they basically say, you can download all this stuff right now. But the big one is the Steam Deck. Because if it works for Steam Deck, it'll work for SteamOS. And if it works for SteamOS, it's great. And essentially, this is going to let you participate in your PlayStation Online type stuff. Now, from what I do understand, it does require you to have a PlayStation Online PSN account, I guess, a PSN Plus or a PS Plus, whatever they call it now, for the highest form is what it currently requires. That's how you get access to the catalogs. That's how you get access to the cloud streaming and all that kind of stuff. Because what Asobi does is essentially ties in and connects to the network for the PlayStation Network. It doesn't. It's not like a emulation where it recreates everything. It's literally just accessing this stuff. But as far as I'm aware, I mean, you could do this with a PS4, PS5. It might technically even be possible to do this without. I'm not going to say that for sure, but you might be able to even do this without having a PlayStation. But by this point, if you don't have a PS4 or PS5, you probably shouldn't be investing in one anyway, just for this feature. I mean, it's really not worth it. PS4s are pretty cheap. You can get them probably for like $100. There's lots of them. PS5's a bit more expensive. Wait maybe 10, 20 years and you might get them for cheaper, but that's up to you. However, this does open up a lot of options. And if somehow you can do this without having a PlayStation system, and it can just connect straight to the cloud system, which I don't think it'll be able to do without the actual PlayStation, but if it could happen that way, that would open up a whole bunch of stuff on a Steam Machine or a Steam Machine equivalent PC that would just break the world in a good way. I don't see that happening because I feel like Sony would have something to say about that in some shape or form. So, unlikely. However, if this does it with low latency and you can play, say, your Call of Duties, your Halos, your Gears of War, any of your fast-paced environment type stuff, and there's no latency or such low, because I believe it was such low latency. Let me see if I can pull this up again. I can't. Shoot. I don't know where it is. Anyway, if you take that low latency and can do virtually anything, because I'm pretty sure it's the latency is supposed to be so small that you wouldn't even notice it, even in like a first person shooter type of situation. And if that is the case, because they actually do some, optimization, which is rare for places like Sony and whatnot, it would definitely be a game changer. Because then you can basically access your PlayStation from your computer and just play. Like, that's freaking huge. Now, I haven't seen it actually implemented because it still hasn't come out yet through Steam. But figuring out what it is going to do, it's going to be a little tricky, but you can kind of guesstimate. However, historically speaking, we more or less know what we're in for. PlayStation typically has a decent structure and just terrible marketing, terrible business practices, terrible reputation, terrible security, all that kind of stuff. But they make good, like the console itself is good. The products of the games are typically well done. There are some not so great ones, but typically they're well done. Then you have those things of like controllers. I mean, my PlayStation 5 controller is one of my favorite controllers at the moment. I still love GameCube. I still love Xbox 360. But the PS5 is really comfortable, at least the one I have, because I didn't get the glossy one. I got the textured one, so I can not be bothered by it. But it's currently my top choice for when I play something, and I can even hook it up to my computer and use it that way. So it's very nice and comfortable in that regard. So those things Sony does really, really well. Everything else is pretty bad. Like back when I had Xbox Live, back in the day, like middle school, high school. I think it was closer to high school. And I had Xbox Live, you got free games, and they were just added to your account. PlayStation doesn't do that. PlayStation adds them to your account, but you can only access them as long as you're paying for that, yearly or monthly subscription to PlayStation now. I don't recall Xbox having that. Granted, it's been a few decades, so I can't recall. But essentially, one was just like, now they're on your account, you can download them and play them whenever because we gave you some free games. They weren't always like top tier games, but they were games that were free. PlayStation 5 gives you like 3 games a month, and you can add them to your PSN account or your PS Plus account, whatever you want to call it. And in that, as long as you have at least the bare minimum version, so the PlayStation multiplayer package, so you can basically just play multiplayer. You don't have all the extra movies and all that other stuff. I don't need that, so I wouldn't need to pay that. So, but essentially, if you at least had that bottom tier, which I think you can get for when it's like super low on sales, like $60-$70 a year, something like that, which isn't horrible, except that PlayStation's kind of a trash company, or Sony's a trash company. But if that's the case, you have access to this stuff for a time period, and then it's kind of like disappears into the ether. So, not the greatest in that regard. Cloud streaming, I've never been fond of cloud streaming. I've tried cloud streaming. It's just not good. I cloud streamed the Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I played that on Amazon, which, if anybody's going to have a decent cloud system, it's going to be Amazon, because they're the ones that have all the servers for virtually everybody else. But I did play that through cloud. It was okay. It wasn't the greatest. I tried to play it on my Amazon Firebot or my Amazon Fire Cube. It was rough. There's a lot of latency, lag issues, delays. Like if I moved, it would take like 2 seconds and then it would move. Like it's not good. So I ended up playing it on my PC, which runs obviously faster, so it's gonna perform better. And even then, I just had to kind of slowly get used to it. I did beat the game. It was okay. Eh. Um, but the experience is not one that I'll be like, yes, I need to go get this. I need to do this. But hey, if you're in the market to want to be able to play your PlayStation, but not on your PlayStation, Steam Deck is an option, and apparently, I should say Steam Deck in its normal form. You have to find the instructions and work your way around it. Like just go to Google or an AI or something and say, hey, how do I set my Steam Deck up to be a PlayStation Portal? It'll walk you through it. I mean, it was super simple for me, but I mean that might not mean the same for you. But if you need help, there's videos out there on YouTube or something. But you can do that now. But once this comes out, you'll be able to do it even easier because it'll be like simple as, hitting a tool button on your Steam account. So I think this is a game changer. I think this is good, especially if it's actually low latency and high fidelity. But we'll have to see. But I want to know what your thoughts are. Is this something that you think is going to revolutionize the entirety of literally everything? Do you think this is going to be something that we're really not going to use much, or that's not going to really be a big deal? At some point, when the PlayStation 6 comes out, presumably in 2028-ish, no discs, no buy, but no discs. Therefore, is this going to be a valid way to be like, well, I can have a PC, and I can take that PC, and I can run my PlayStation off of it, and still access all this stuff off of a PS5, and not need a PS6, per se. I'm sure they'll do some sort of stupid system blocking stuff where it's like, oh, it's like the Nintendo Switch versus the Switch 2, or if you get a Switch 2, it won't run on a Switch 1, and there's going to be some technical reasons for that, but for the most part, you could have the same game twice, and it's just going to be like, you could run this before, but it'd be akin to saying, I have Switch Online, and I can access it on my Switch or my Switch 2, and obviously the only difference is that Switch 2 has access to GameCube, where Switch 1 doesn't. But it'd be like, okay, the games that work on the Switch Online for Switch 1 and Switch 2, they operate the exact same. The specs are going to be the difference to push it, but I don't think it should be that big of a difference. And technology's kind of plateaued. There's not a huge direction in which technology can go. It's not like you can just fling more RAM at something or fling higher graphics or something. The graphics are peaking out, RAM is peaking out. Like there's not a whole lot of places you can go with this. They'll keep charging you like there is, but there's really not. So hopefully, things will change and go down in price, but I don't see that happening. But do you guys think that this will help make some decisions, if not for just yourself, but for friends of yours or anybody in the no disc, no buy camp, or the all digital camp, or the anti no disc guys? Whatever. I'm not gonna get into that argument, but let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like or dislike, whatever floats your boat. I appreciate you guys' time. Check the description down below, and you'll get a couple of my recommendations, my personal recommendations that you get every video of people you can check out on YouTube. You also have access to my Twitter/X, my Discord, all that kind of stuff, and my critic list. So hopefully you guys will check all those things out, and hope you guys have a fantastic day wherever you're at. And remember, my friends, walk in the light.